Pledge of Allegiance. Joetta, would you start us out?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Lynch,
Here.
Member Collins,
Here.
Member Lewis,
Here.
Member Young Johnson,
Here.
Member Williams.
Here.
We have the approval of the minutes.
Make a
From
motion
June
to approve.
27th.
Yeah, make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have no unfinished business. New business, we have a tag day request from Portage Music Booster. So if you want to come forward, you can stand up at the mic. The mic is live, so you don't have to press anything up there.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are
Good.
you?
Yes, the Music Boosters would like to do a tag day on August 26th. We're trying to do fundraising for the Music Boosters.
So you know where you're allowed to collect?
Yes.
And that we don't want any young people standing in the street, so.
Correct.
And you need to identify who you are, what you're collecting for. So do you have like a T-shirt or something like that?
Most of us have Portage music wear already, and probably from marching band or other things like that, so we'll be wearing those.
I'll make a motion, we approve the Portage Music Boosters Tag Day request for August 26th.
I second.
We have motion and second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank
Hope
you.
you have good weather. So we have a special request for an all-music project on August 27th. Is Ben here? Oh, you're doing it? Okay.
No, here on his behalf, yes, so.
So do you want to explain what that is exactly?
Yes, All Music Project is a new nonprofit. Last year, we had a concert in the Founders Square. It was a free orchestra concert that went off really well. We have since decided to turn it into a nonprofit to try to keep this going. So we're trying to have another free orchestra concert on Sunday, August 27th.
Do you know about how many people you were expecting?
Last year, I think it was just around 200, I think, or so that showed up. So we're still in the process of trying to advertise, spreading the word throughout the area to make sure that there's a good turnout.
Have you talked to the park department?
Yes, I believe I've got copies of all of our contracts, and Ben has been mainly the forerunner. He is the president of our organization, so he's been doing most of the contacting, but I know he's already talked to the Parks Department. We've got the emergency plan all figured out and gotten all those needed signatures.
And I see our superintendent's here. Did you want to add anything, Di?
I was going to say, he went through everything, the event protocol, so spoke to the police, spoke to the fire department, got the fees waived by the park board, so he's on track for full approval.
Awesome.
I'll make a motion that we approve the All Music Project for August 27th.
I second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. It was great last year. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
We have a solicitor's permit for Power Home Remodeling.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we were just reapplying from last year. We applied and went really well. Door-to-door solicitation just for exterior remodeling for like windows, roofing, and siding.
Mike, have you checked everything out and everything's okay?
Yeah, we went through the documents and didn't have any issues.
And how long is this solicitation request for? What time frame?
So I believe there's 2 types in Portage. I think we're applying for the year permit.
So the rest of this calendar year?
Yeah.
Or- Okay.
Well, I think the application kind of says it's July 11th, 23 to July 11th, 24. Do we do them that long?
Yeah, as long as the, those that are soliciting stays the same, correct? Yeah. So if you added new people, then we'd have to review the application. Is that correct, Chief? All right.
I make a motion to approve the solicitor's permit for Power Home remodeling.
I'll second.
We have motion and a second. Are there any other questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck. So we have, we're still under new business. We have the Fire Local 3151 collective bargaining agreement. Attorney Whitten?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to run through just a couple of things on this. I'll lead off by saying that this has been in front of the City Council, and they have approved it already. So it's before you, since it's a contract, it requires your approval as well. So just to kind of give you the overview, it's a 3-year contract running from retroactively January 1, 2023 through the end of 2025, December 31st. Not a ton of changes in this contract, some language cleanup, some clarification of a few things, a couple of big ticket items which I'm going to just give you the 100-mile-high view of. We've changed the draw that a new firefighter gets upon hiring. You'll see there 25% of the annual clothing allowance after 6 months of employment. We also changed some language about reimbursement for the academy. Since that language was antiquated and the academy is so close now, it seemed appropriate to update that language. We upped the clothing allowance as has been historically done, nothing unusual there. And then, I'm trying to look for the, we changed one thing. The contract spoke of a step going to the Human Resources Director. At this time, we don't have one, so it has been me for the last 3.5 years. So in these contracts, all of them, I've been inserting a Human Resources Director or the mayor's designee, which unfortunately has been me. And then moving right along, we get to the wages, which is a big change in the contract, obviously. Over 3 years, it's a 15% increase, first year being 6.2%, second year being 5%, and the third year being 3.8%. That's certainly a change. And really, the rest of the stuff is rather mundane. We did up the holiday pay from 1.5 times to 2.5 times. Again, the way that firefighters earn holiday pay is very different than the other bargaining units, so it's not much of a hit to the city, and certainly is a good benefit to the firefighters. So really, this has been also, by the way, I neglected to mention, this has been ratified already by the firefighters union. So this is sort of the last stop in the approval process. At this point, I would ask the board to, if you have questions about what I've said. Oh, one other thing is, when I spoke of language clarification or changes, we made some clarifying, I believe, language with respect to retiree and spouse insurance reimbursement upon a firefighter's retirement. We grandfathered in those folks that are already getting the reimbursement for their dependent children, but looking forward, that is not the case. That runs consistent with the police bargaining agreement, as you may recall. And that's it. That's really kind of the big stuff. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but otherwise I would ask the board to approve this.
Yeah, we talked about changing some language, and might seem trivial, but why did we change from should to shall?
Should
I'm
is
thinking of the Ten Commandments. It's not you should.
Well, frankly, should is a great word that gets you on a wonderful path to litigation or grievances. It lends itself to interpretation. And in those instances where we went from should to shall, we just wanted to clarify that it's more ministerial than discretionary. And we have been, in those circumstances where we put shall, those are things that we have been doing anyway.
Well, it used to say shall, now it says should.
Well, then I'd say the reverse of what I just said. Take everything I said and turn it on.
Second thing is on section 15, Labor Management Committee, looks like there was some changes made there in terms of the composition of that and maybe who, I don't know if appoints is the right word.
Chief, you want to speak to that? That was something that was more.
Yeah, it was just a minimum amount, and what we just decided as a group was to just increase it to the whole administration and the executive board of the union. And that way, because technically we were kind of violating, we had different numbers, and so it just made it a little more vague, so that way each side had proper representation.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the firefighters collective bargaining agreement that was just passed and by the council and ratified by the firefighters union.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. Are there any other questions, any other discussion? I do have one weird question, and I'm sorry. But if there, for some reason or another, we changed the listed dates of, that were closed, like Martin Luther King Day and that, if we changed one of those to something else, do we have to reopen the contract?
I think that what we've done in the past is a simple MOU to address that.
Okay.
But yes, that does require some discussion and bargaining with the union.
Okay. I mean, there isn't anything, it was just that I know over the years, some of those things have changed, like President's Day is no longer on there. So I just wanted to know if we had to open the contract again. Okay. Are there any other questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. We have the MOU, the mechanics wage scale.
Yes, Madam Mayor, that's mine as well. So we had a dispute with respect to mechanics pay, and I could give you the long-winded history of it if you'd like, but at the behest of the union, we've had a lot of discussions about resolving the dispute over the mechanics pay, which, by the way, pursuant to the contract, when there's an issue with the mechanics pay, that in and of itself leads to a dispute over the mechanic helpers pay, because the mechanic helpers get paid based upon a percentage of the mechanics pay, depending on years of service. So we had mechanics helper, and lead. This is the sum and summation of the the resolution that the union and we came up with. It's retroactive only to January of this year. I set out in what I believe to be clear form, what the wages would be moving forward, again, from January 1, 2023, for each of those disputed pay slots. So if you have questions about that, I can give you more history if you want, but this is just the resolution of that dispute.
And again, this was approved by the city council.
It was indeed.
I make a motion to approve the MOU regarding the collective, the pay compensation for the mechanics.
Mechanics, helpers, and
Excuse me. Yes, the mechanics, helpers, and leads.
A second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We have the MOU on longevity.
Again, Mayor, that one would be me. So, again, this is an agreement that has come on the back end of a dispute with respect to the computation of longevity pay. Historically, the longevity had been computed upon actual wages earned, meaning if somebody was working overtime, getting time and a half pay, or double time based upon some form of holiday pay or something across the board with the different units. Longevity was being computed on the wages earned. That was changed at the beginning of this year to just straight time computation. This takes it back to the way it was, and in my humble opinion, consistent with the requirements of the Fair Labor Standards Act. So this will get us, again, it's almost like we turned back the hands of time to December of last year. So I would ask that the board approve this MOU. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, but this one's pretty straightforward.
And what was the reason we changed previously?
So that's a question for the clerk, but I think that what may have occurred, and I don't want to speak for the clerk, but what may have occurred is the clerk, the software or the program that they were using to calculate those things, I think they did a changeover, I think, and it changed they had to go in and manually do this, I think. In my history of the Fair Labor Standards Act, I believe that this computation is required, actually.
And this is retroactive to make up for that?
Yes, it certainly is.
I'll make a motion that we approve the MOU, I guess with the police department.
Well, and I would just because some of these are going to require other boards, but you guys are the police department and the street department, sanitation and parks. Yes, all four.
So this covers all of them, everybody, all city employees?
It does.
I'll make a motion, we approve the MOU for all city employees on the longevity.
Yeah, and I want to clarify one comment. All city employees covered under a CBA, because this is an MOU that addresses the CBAs. So our employees that are not under the CBAs will have to address that another way.
Try again.
Heck, thanks.
I'm a year older now, so it's hard.
That's true, I see it.
I wish to approve a memorandum of understanding with all the city employees who are covered by a CBA.
I second.
We have motion and a second. Are there any further questions? Yes, Chief.
Is that including the fire department also?
This is an MOU between us and the operating engineers. So if there's an issue with the fire department, that has not been brought to me, but we will certainly address that. We can certainly do the same thing with an MOU. This one merely goes after the CBAs covered by operators.
Good point, Randy. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, we have permission to seek bids for waste disposal services.
Good morning. Hope everybody had a great holiday. I did. I was on vacation. Yes, I'm asking for the board, asking for permission to seek bids for the waste disposal services for the city services with the upcoming contract and coming up.
Yes, that contract is up, right?
It'd be August 31st.
Yeah.
So this will be I don't know if it's going to be a 4-year, 5-year, but yeah.
I make a motion to allow street department to seek, street and sanitation to seek bids for waste disposal services moving forward as the contract ends August 31st of this year.
I'll second that motion.
We have motion and a second. Are there any questions, any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Darren. Chief Candiano, I think you had something you wanted to bring up.
Hello.
Hello.
I did not get this on the agenda, but I asked if I could squeeze it in, and the mayor was kind enough to oblige me. So what we're looking for is to get some approval to trade in some pieces of equipment that we have. As you guys probably know, we have ATVs that we use for trail patrol, festivals, different events. Also use them for getting into, difficult places, maybe railroad beds, the beach, different things like that. So long story short, we're coming up on pretty much end of life for our 2 ATVs. And then we made a purchase back in 2019 of a UTV, which at the time I think, the thought was that there was going to be more applications for it. In the 3 or 4 years we've had it, we just really haven't gotten the use out of it that I think we thought at the time that we would. So what we're looking to do is, if we can put this all together, would be to trade the UTV, which is a 2019 Viking 6 EPS, and then 2 2012 Yamaha Grizzly 550 FIs to Cycle Sport Yamaha, and essentially we would get that money back on the purchase of 2 new ATVs. So as far as the money for that, I'm looking at a couple different routes for that. So, but right now I'm just looking for the approval that if we get to that point, if we're able to trade those in. So the figures that they had given me were $11,000 for the UTV and then $2,000 apiece on the ATVs, which from everything I've seen seem to be pretty fair prices, especially on the ATVs that are around 11 years old. So
you're just looking for approval to try to set up the trade?
yeah, since it's obviously some larger pieces of equipment that we've acquired, I wanted to make sure we had approval to offload those.
I mean, the UTV, if you had to replace something on it, it's going to cost.
The UTV? Yeah, and so what we've determined is that just the size of it, which, like I said, when you're looking at things, it seemed like it was a good idea, but just the size of it as far as for getting on the trail or getting different places, it's more, we're not using it enough. So if we can put that money back into getting 2 new ATVs that we're using almost daily, just to offset some of that cost. Because I think the for instance, what we were kind of looking at was around $11,000 a piece on these UTV, or ATVs. So for a piece of equipment that we're just not using very often, if we could get more bang for our buck essentially by trading it in, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve the trade of the equipment, if you can set that up.
A second.
I just have one question,
Sure.
Chief. Do you believe that this trade-in value will hold regardless of who the vendor is that you get the two new ATVs from?
Yeah, can you speak at all on that, Keith?
It's possible. Right now, the inventory is pretty minimal, sort of like the car issue that we've gone through over the last 3 years. When I spoke to Yamaha, or Cyclesport Yamaha, they said that they thought that they would be able to get us two as long as it was approved by the city. We've historically had Yamaha vehicles in the past. We've had great success in getting them serviced and anything that would go wrong. I haven't looked into another brand. The only other brand, I mean, that would be relatively close would be Kawasaki or Honda.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
Do we have a motion? Motion and a second, okay. Are there any other questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chief. Ready to live, BO, Chris, are you getting ready for your big weekend?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Well, I came here today to see if we could close a road by Founders Square for the event, Adam Harding Way. And I would request that we could close it from Central Ave to South Founders.
That's the road between the fire station and the mall, right?
Yeah.
That little-
And the reason for closing it?
The artists need to park their tour buses somewhere, and we need to park our generator where people, don't get electrocuted.
Can I ask, does the police chief or fire chief have an issue with this request?
It's more, we don't have any more, it would be more us, because that's blocking off one of our entrances into the station. We would still have a secondary entrance, but
Can we block the road
it would be all.
north of your entrance?
Yes.
So you would still have access?
That's always been done. We usually don't block it all right at Central, just so we have access into the back. And,
Okay.
Make sure they don't block.
right, because we had a little problem with that with 4th of July, and it was a bit of a hassle, so, yeah, we would prefer to be blocked off just north of our entrance.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, that works.
Does that work
Yeah, yeah.
logistically for you guys?
Yep,
Okay. I see you shaking your head yes. So
yes. Adam Harding Way.
I make a motion to approve the request for the organization Ready to Live to block off, what's the name of the street? Adam Harding's Way, north of the fire department's entrance.
And can you make that motion contingent upon coordinating with the fire department?
Yes, contingent upon coordinating with the fire department.
I'll second that motion.
We have motion and a second. Are there any other questions, any other discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
How's that going?
Good, good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the home stretch, so right now it's a little bit of sleep and just making sure everything goes nice and smooth for the day.
you will see us there.
Okay.
So Friday is a fundraiser, actually, right?
Saturday.
Saturday's a
Yeah.
fundraiser.
Saturday's a fundraiser, and then Sunday's the full concert.
Sunday is a concert.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody,
All right.
go out to Founders Square.
Yep, thank you.
Support our local, is it the park, Portage Township Parks, right? Yeah, okay. We have the bulk item appeals. Darren, do you have a bulk item appeal?
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. We have claims. We have claims in the amount of $3,126,279.41.
I do have a question. Portage County Treasurer says professional services, 2023 primary election, $63,297. What's that about?
We always have to pay that when there's an election, that's our portion. Michelle, do you want to expand on that, or Dan?
I think you hit it, Mayor. That's our share
That's-
of the.
So we should be putting out a coffee can.
Used to be more. It used to be more because there were more voting sites, which of course required more inspectors, judges, and all that stuff. But since they went to more consolidated voting sites, that has tempered that cost. But it used to be a bit more.
Thank you.
And if you see, we did repay our temp loans. That's what's causing this number to be so high this time.
I'll make a motion, we pay the claims in the amount of $3,126,279.41.
A second.
We have motion and a second. Are there any further questions, discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have major illness claims, Attorney Whitten.
We have a few, Madam Mayor, so I've reviewed some of them, and I have approved 4 of the major illness claims. We have no COVID requests, but I would ask that the board approve the 4 MIs that I have signed.
Make a motion to approve the 4 MI major illness claims that have been approved by Attorney Whitten.
A second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Are there any other items that come before this board at this time? Does anyone wish to bring anything else up? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.